just can't stop, won't stop hustling. But I just
Euphoria Season 2, Episode 1 title, Trying to Get to Heaven Before They Close the Door. I like that title name. Let's talk about it, man. Listen, I was very, 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 very much anticipating the second season of Euphoria. It's hard to believe that the first episode aired in June 16th of 2019. Yes, it's been almost 3 years since Euphoria has aired on television. And I was curious to see, after such a fascinating first season, what they were going to do with this season. And man, well, did they start off a damn show right here, boy. We get a little backstory about a character who I was very intrigued with the first season, who was one of my favorite characters besides Rue, and that was Fesco. So we get to see a little backstory between him, how he came to know his brother, Ashtray, who isn't really his brother. We get this whole montage and backstory about how his grandma took custody of him. She wound up walking into a strip club I guess his daddy owned, shooting his daddy in both his legs. He was getting topped off by some stripper. She went in there raising hell, and she pretty much added him into the game right from the jump. Taught him everything she knew. And he also took some lines from her, like who brings a kid to a drug deal? Like, that's not a kid, that's my business partner. He uses that with his brother now. And so we get a backstory how he came to be, and her ultimate or her untimely demise forced him to kind of grow up and be on his own, and he took all the knowledge that she had, and he just kept it going, like from a young kid. So he never really had a childhood. They did show in school, they highlight in school that he was very intelligent, so they let you know that he's not no dummy, even though a lot of people thought that, or thought he portrayed that. That wasn't the case. If you're looking at my lips, you're wondering, I was cooking some steaks, popped it in the cast iron, and the fucking grease popped up on me and burnt me. So one thing is, I ain't got that other shit. If y'all think that's what it is, yeah, this shit hurt it too, but it's getting better, it's scabbing up. But anyway, first, they didn't show all the characters this first episode, but I mean, we saw the usual suspects. Obviously, Zendaya, who plays Rue. We saw Hunter Schafer, who plays Jules. Cassie was in there, Nate. One character that I didn't see in the trailer, and I didn't know if he was in there or not, was LG Smith, who plays Chris McKay. And he's in there. I'm like, okay, yeah. That's because I didn't see him, and I was just like, what the fuck? Did they get rid of him, or he's not on the show no more? But sure enough, he winds up coming in. And after we get the backstory of the great backstory of Fesco, we see present day that him and Rue are still hanging out. You know, they got like a brother-sister relationship. And prior to that, we see, things got tense with him and Mouse last season. Where, the brother, they didn't know what was going on. The deal wound up going smooth, but it just always was sketchy and fearful. So I think Ashtray, his little brother, let that fear consume him. And, the most people, listen, they say people who do other things to people, like murder them, et cetera, et cetera. Some people are sociopaths, but 9 times out of 10, it'd be the pussies or the scary people who would do something to you just out of pure fear. So Ashtray did out of pure fear. Listen, he came up like a jackrabbit with that hammer, said boom, and then hit the other dude in the nose. I'm like, oh crap. So Mouse is gone. I don't know what happened with the body, but time moved forward, and we see that he needs another plug now. And the other dude he hit in the nose, I guess, is introducing him to some new people, and it's just sketchy. These people are methed out or crazy out of their mind as well, and they don't know him, so they like, yo, everybody's stripped. He had Rue sitting in the car with this guy's girlfriend who's a junkie, and her and Rue are just sitting in the car, and she's like, yeah, you want to try this? And Rue she got her own vice, but she doesn't dwell in the H, but so she's looking like sketchy because I think Rue was she's an addict, so she's gonna try it, even though she don't want to. It's there right in front of her face. But right before she can, they get snatched out of the car, taken into the apartment where they're told to strip naked. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like, at first I'm like, this crazy. Then I was like, oh man, we're gonna get to see Zendaya. Like, okay, maybe, but it never happens. It must be in her contract. I'm like, everybody in the house though that was on the opposing side had to strip naked. You see all kinds of stuff, even from the jump, the first dialogue or montage. You see penises and whatnot. I'm like, what is going on here? But they all into it. They making the situation seem real, and it felt really real. They wanted to check them, make sure they wasn't wearing wires. We see the person running the show is obviously a new character, drug dealer, older lady, and I'm guessing these are her relatives or just her workers. I'm not sure, but she was calling the shots. Once they did everything, and that scene was tense too. You know, when they took Rue in the bathroom, like that was good acting. You know, the guy was very believable. You got the one guy that looked like Riff Raff, the one white kid. He got the fucking I don't know AK-47 just sitting on the table, and then you got the guy that played White Boy Rick, and I forget what movie. I think the movie was named White Boy Rick. You get him. He's in there, and it's crazy because I always liken him to the guy that plays Fezco. So they got like all the white boy thugs, like playing against each other and shit. And if you notice in the trailer, it was some drama going on. So I'm guessing must be what the drama is. Something's going to happen. I don't know. But anyway, they wind up getting out of that situation, and I'm guessing Mouse might have worked for this lady. If I'm not maybe Mouse worked for this lady. I'm guessing. That's what I'm assuming. That's because she asked about Mouse, and Mouse was the guy that Ashtray killed. And he was like, yo, I didn't like the way Mouse did business no more. He said, I didn't like the way Mouse did business. He ain't here no more. Like, she's just like, hey, whatever. Business is business. She gave him a whole briefcase. He got a plethora of stuff. I'm like, oh my God. It's litty in the city. They wind up getting out that situation. And the junkie girl and the dude, I think they stayed there. But then Rue finds the case, the Altoid case with the girl's stuff in it. And I'm like, oh, this ain't going to be good. Come to find out, they're going to this big New Year's Eve party. I guess everybody from the town's going to be there. Fast forward, we get to Cassie, who is no longer dating Chris. She's doing her own thing now. And she's coming out of a store of some sort, and she runs into Nate. Nate offers to give her a ride. Obviously she has no gripes with Nate or no reason to feel, insecure. So she goes with Nate, and he's drinking and driving, and I'm like, oh, this ain't. And the way they were alluding to like something's about to happen. That's what I was thinking. But then they were also alluding to the attraction these two had. He's looking at her like she's a piece of meat. She's nervous at first. I think it was a tactic. He wanted her bill to spill on her. Her beer spills on her, and she winds up taking her panties off and hanging out the window. And I'm like, oh, something about to happen. And I'm like, you dirty, because this is her best friend's ex-boyfriend, and this is his best friend's ex-girlfriend. So I'm like, this ain't going to be good. This ain't going to be good. And sure enough, it wasn't. You see them, they get to the party, they in the bathroom making out, kissing, doing what they need to do, about to get it in, and then guess who comes to the door? Maddie. They're in the bathroom, and Maddie comes banging on the door. Boom, 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 boom. I got to use the bathroom, Nate. I was in there. He's like, hold on. And Cassie's obviously scared out of her damn mind, and because that's her best friend. So they trying to figure something out. He's not going. He's not letting her come in. She's just like, are you taking a shit? You're taking a shit at a party? Seriously? Like, just blowing up the spot. So she's banging on the door. And guess who come lurking out the shadows? Lil Meech from BMF. I'm like, what is... You on the wrong show, bro. Like, BMF went off a month ago. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're not even in high school anymore. You sell drugs in Detroit. No, that's dope to see Lil Meech getting some roles. But he comes strolling in. His name's Travis. And I'm like, okay, this is what they did with Chris McKay. They got rid of him. Maybe they got another token black dude. And he's just kicking it. Meech plays himself. I just come to terms. That's who Meech is gonna be. He plays himself. That's his role. Uh, he's a high schooler with that deep ass voice. I'm like, dude, ain't no way you in high school. But then you look up the ages of all the cast. He's actually the youngest out of everybody on the cast. So I'm like, okay, never mind. um. Anyway, they devise a plan. He tells Cassie to hide in the bathtub. Maddie goes in there and it's all kinds of stuff. She's taking forever. She's pissing. She doesn't have any toilet paper. She has to grab a towel off the rack to wipe her cootie. She throws it in the tub. It lands on Cassie's face. I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. Her and as she's coming out, her and Travis, Meech, he's like, yo, you want to smoke? They're in the bathroom smoking, flirting, and about to get it in, and then all of a sudden, Cassie's phone ring because one of her friends keeps calling her. That's been looking for her the whole night, and I'm like, yo, Lexi was looking for her. And I'm like, wow, possessive much? She's asking Cat, hey, have you seen Cassie? Where is she? Like, she was really concerned about her friend. I was like, yo, you know what? You need friends like that. So anyway, her phone winds up going off and vibrating. And I'm like, yo, this ain't the first time she called her. So why is her phone on now just going off? But anyway, it goes off. Meech looks behind the bath curtain and sees her. He like, yo, there's some girl passed out in here. And Maddie's, she's so self-absorbed. She's like, I don't give a fuck. Fuck her. Let's go dance. And she wind up getting out of there. She walks out there, and then Lexi finally sees her. And she's just like, yo, what are you been at? And Cassie just kind of brushed her off, but she's acting weird with it. So she's like, she's just trying to get her bearings. And then all of a sudden, Chris walks into the party. And I'm like, oh, shit, like, Chris is here. And he's talking to Nate for a little bit. I guess they just catching up. And then he sees Cassie, and he winds up grabbing her at that time. And then they wind up talking. And he was just, whispering sweet nothings to her and just trying to see where they was at with it. And it wasn't really nothing, man. Because you remember last season, they was hot and heavy. She wound up getting knocked up. He didn't want the baby, and she wound up having an abortion and going by herself. So I'm pretty sure that was emotional for her. And then on top of that, she just almost hooked up with his best friend. So they come out the room, and Nate's like pressing him, yo, did you do anything to her? Like, he was being super extra. And you remember... Chris was just like, yo, chill out. Like, come on, man. Like, chill out. Like, come on, dude, stop. Like, he was just being super aggy with it, though. I'm like, dude, you super annoying. In the party, the whole vibe is like, Rue's getting high. So she finds somebody else who's getting high. She wind up going into a laundry room. And I don't know if this guy's a new character. I don't remember him last season. But he winds up getting high. She winds up getting high with this guy. He's doing coke. She's doing her shit. So they wind up linking. And she almost goes into like a cardiac arrest for a second. She was like, oh, okay, there it is. Like, I'm like, uh-oh. Because her body is doing so much. She's doing H and she's doing whatever this guy is doing. So she almost went and she was like, I can't feel my hurt. Oh, there it is. I'm like, uh-oh. So she's doing that. We also see that Jules is at the party as well outside. And she's looking for Rue. Or they wind up running into each other somehow. I think when afterwards Rue winds up going outside. Jules asks to talk to her, and the guy winds up getting up. I'm just giving a setting. So this is happening. Then on top of that, you got Fesco. He's talking to Lexi the whole time with his game. And it's working. I think she likes him to a certain extent. She's still leery of him because obviously everybody knows he sells drugs and he's into some crazy shit. But the whole time he's staring Nate down. And it took me a while to remember because I haven't watched the first season. I wanted to watch the first season before this came out, but I just never got around to it. So I couldn't remember exactly what had went to him. Then I went online and looked it up, and I forgot Nate actually knocked him out because he kept fucking with Jules. And then Rue hired him to like back him down. And I don't know if he was scared or he just figured this was his way of getting back at him. And I'm like, yo, that's some straight sucker shit for real, for real. But yeah, that's what wound up happening. Uh, Rue and Jules, they, she figures out what caused Rue to relapse, and it was her. So she's kind of torn about it. Right as that's being said, they go into a party. The ball's about to drop. Rue follows her in, and she's just like, "Yo, sorry, I didn't mean it." And then it's just like right then and there, they kind of like reconnect, and she finds like, listen, and I think that was like a metaphor. Rue did all these drugs this episode, but none of these drugs was more addictive than Jules to her. That's her ultimate drug, and when she got that, I think she was like satisfied. And I think Jules is the only one that could probably get her to be clean because that's the highest drug she can get. You know what I'm saying? She said she never felt like that before. I love the cinematography of how they shoot this show, along with the soundtrack and the backdrop they have. It's something about the end when they did the special effects and they had that bright light just airing on everybody, just giving a like honest depiction of what they're going through without saying or them saying what they're going through. I thought that was dope. I love how when the grandma was walking inside the strip club, you don't see her body, but you see the gun. It's just little stuff like that I like appreciate a lot. I love different angles of cameras because obviously I record with a camera, and it's hard getting a particular angle that you feel captures the best of you. But it's just one thing I love that this show does, man. They really focused on things like that. There was even one scene where they were driving down the alley and it's dark, but you see kind of the cars and the contrast, and I'm like, man, this is grade A directing or filming, whatever it's called. Just grade A shit, man. I like it a lot. At the end, everything climaxes. We see obviously Travis and Maddie dancing. You can see they getting visibly upset. They're trying to figure out who Travis is, and it's crazy because nobody knows who he is. But he's particularly been going to school, and it's high school shit. Hey, you know who I am? It's like, nigga, no, I don't know who you is. Who are you? Like, why do high school kids always say this shit? You know who I am? I'm like, whatever. Anyway, everything comes to a head. We see Fezco get up. He tells Ashtray to go start the car. He warns Rue before he leaves to come with him, or he's about to go. But she winds up following Jules. And then we see Lexi's just staring at him, and she see that he got his eye on Nate. And I'm like, oh, what he about to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, Fezco is like street, but I think Nate is a little more like stockier. And it don't matter. Like, he had it all figured out. He pulled the shot out. He's like, yeah, last time I seen you, you said you're gonna kill me. You wanted to kill me. He's like, oh no, it's all good. Playboy went under the bridge. Here's to the new year. Then he just hits him with this bottle. Pow! I'm like, oh shit. And dude, he just proceeded to demolish his face. Like, bop, bop, relentless, will not stop. They trying to help. He pushing the girls off. Bop, 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 like destroying his face. Until Chris comes off and finally helps him up. Party over. What a way to bring in the new year. And you get the closing montage with Rue like, damn. It just cuts off. I said, oh, this is great shit right here. Good shit right here. Great episode. Great first reintroduction episode. Like I said, I love the backstory of Fezco. I hope they do that the whole season, give us backstories of all the characters. If I'm not mistaken, they did that the first season, if I'm not mistaken. But like I said, it was good to see his backstory, seeing how he came up. And, man, the love his brother got from him is great. Obviously, Rue's great. I'm about to go watch this episode again with my girl. She don't know I watched it. She don't like when I watch it without her. But anyway, post your comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you like my review. If you didn't, you don't have a good taste. And you should probably reevaluate your psychological being. No, I'm just kidding. As always, peace, love, and prosperity. I go by the name of the Black Abstract One.